Well, good afternoon. Happy Thursday, everybody. I appreciate you joining me, whether you're here live or watching this on recording at whatever point in the future. Today, we're setting aside some time to explore the residency program that we're launching here at Cairn Financial Group. I want to make sure that we carve out plenty of time to explore who we are, what the program actually is, what our use case is for why we believe that the industry as a whole would need a residency program to be more formalized than a lot of places are able to offer, why we believe that we as a firm stand to benefit from a residency program, and what we believe we can actually offer you, the potential applicant. And of course, we want to explore why you, the applicant, should consider this residency program, what you should expect to put into it, and what you should be looking to get out of the aforementioned residency program as well. I encourage you all to speak up and ask questions as we go through this discussions. We're going to make sure that we have time at the end to explore anything in reflection if need be. But if we need to interrupt me, feel free to. This should be nothing more than helpful for you. So do what you need to do to benefit here. That said, let's dive in to a little bit of a highlight about Cairn Financial Group, who we are and who you're actually considering working with for the next 3 years for our residency program. Good news is we're a small team. It's not going to take a lot of time to introduce us. You're talking with me, Nathan Green. I'm the founding principal owner of the firm. Cairn Financial Group as a whole is a registered investment advisor firm. I've got a long background of about 15 years into the industry. I've got a background working with Cairn Financial Group for the last 5 years, and prior to that, was with a larger broker-dealer organization, broke off, dropped the FINRA licenses. We're no longer registered through FINRA as a, what am I trying to say? We're not a dual registered. We're not a hybrid firm. We are RIA exclusive, and we're only managing investments through fee-based, or we're only charging fees on our investments. We're only doing financial planning for fees as well. We're no longer in a position to broker any kind of financial product, whether it be insurance or otherwise. That said, little quick background about me beyond just the industry exposure. I also do a lot of education, a lot of teaching alongside. We'll get to a slide about our culture of education. But it is really worth noting that I spend a lot of time educating, and that has inspired me to consider this residency program as the next step in our personnel development. Partly because I see value in what we could obtain, and the other part because I just genuinely enjoy instructing, teaching, and helping others grow towards their own goals. Taylor Witt is the other CFP who works with Cairn Financial Group. We'll talk about some of the structure of the firm as a whole, in that we separate some of our services between investment management and financial planning. And it's important to mention here in relation to Taylor Witt, because Taylor oversees all things financial planning for Cairn Financial Group. He's directly interacting with our clients as they navigate through whatever issues come up, whether it be how to purchase that next house, how to purchase that next car, how to offload a business and transition into a next phase of life, how to retire smoothly and ensure that assets will be used efficiently and sustainably. And of course, how to position all decisions along the way. Taylor oversees all things financial planning within the firm. That therefore means that a lot of the investment related work is overseen by me, Nathan Green. The third member of our team is Raquel Vasquez Dempsey. She is in charge of all things client relations for the firm. So she is the outward facing unit of Cairn Financial Group to effectively ensure that all of our clients consistently receive maximum value from Cairn and our resources. So while we are going to spend our time today talking about the macro categories of what we do, we are financial planners, we are investment managers. There are a number of micro components that build into that, whether it be tools or services or FaceTime or otherwise. Raquel oversees all of that being properly distributed to our individual clients. And of course, what we're looking to do is bring on a fourth team member. We hope that's you, in the form of a financial planning resident. Broadly speaking, we're anticipating that this residency program will be a 3-year residency commitment, and we do anticipate to continue that revolving door into the future. In other words, we're not looking to hire you and only you, although you would likely nothing. You will be the single first of the residents on staff at Cairn Financial Group, which means we really need you to have a little bit of a roll your sleeves up and work and figure it out with us as we get going. We've got a really great design to the program, but inevitably we're going to run up against speed bumps. And so we're going to look for a lot of feedback, a lot of constructive guidance from you who will help us shape this program, not only for your experience, but hopefully for many residents to come. As a firm, I alluded to this a second ago. We predominantly have two different sides of our practice. We, number one, very traditionally manage investment assets. I don't describe the way we manage investment assets as traditional, although categorically, the registered investment advisory industry has traditionally provided investment management services. For those of you who are not familiar with some of these terms of how we manage our investments, predominant format comes in the form of public equities or publicly traded securities, whether they be equities or fixed income bonds, etc. We manage 4 different model portfolios in-house. I take that back. We manage 3 different model portfolios in-house, and then we have a partnership with a third-party asset manager based out of Denver who manages what we'll consider a private equity style public equity model and simply delivers that model to us. Predominantly their clients are family offices and some endowment funds, and we're one of the only RIAs that they work with, simply delivering that model for us to implement for our clients. We're able to bring some sophisticated investments down to our more retail clientele. On top of that, the funds that we manage in-house, 2 of them are quantitative, sort of algorithmic models where we're identifying securities to purchase as a result of an algorithm. And then the first on this list is a modern portfolio theory model. This is traditional. Many of you would have studied this throughout, any number of formats you could have studied this, where we're using a lot of ETFs and passively managed funds to accomplish risk-adjusted returns. But the good news is we're not only invested in the public equity space, we spend a lot of time investing our capital in private equities as well. Maybe not private equities, but private and alternative investments categorically, whether those be equities or real estate or credit. We are pretty deeply entrenched in a number of private assets. Would be happy to explore what that means for you, but some of the stuff that we'll talk about as we go forward describing the residency, we'll end up highlighting how a requirement for the residency will be to add value in the research and the due diligence process for any number of these illiquid and alternative investments. Financial planning stands separate from investment management. Financial planning, categorically, is much broader. We're not overseeing, or rather, we're not simply taking a role of responsibility in letting investment assets grow or facilitating that growth as much as possible. Instead, our role as financial planner is much simpler, but much more involved to effectively empower wealth success across any aspect of our clients' wealth. Now, categorically, we can tend to group all the work that we do for our clients into one of 6 different components, either trying to help the client answer simple questions like how should they be saving, investing, insuring, paying off debt, planning for taxes, preparing for estate. Categorically, pretty much everything that happens in a financial discussion fits into one of those 6 categories. Now, it is worth noting that in our financial planning realm, we don't do any kind of insurance brokering. We are not in place to actually place an insurance policy, to broker, to sell that kind of policy. We're very hands-on through that process with our clients because we do believe that proper risk management is a critical component to a successful financial plan. So our role is to be an independent third party that helps client assess and then sits on the same side of the table with client as we speak with the relevant insurance broker to actually find the proper policy to put in place. That's the broker's responsibility, not ours. We have no financial vested interest in how that happens, other than simply looking out for the well-being of our clients. It is really worth noting who our clients are, and indeed who you, by default, would then be working with. Since we're able to separate out the two different sides of our firm as both investment management as well as financial planning, we're really uniquely positioned in the broader industry in that we're able to work with a lot of clients who are not yet wealthy. Maybe a bigger picture way to interpret that is this industry, the registered investment advisory industry, is really well positioned to help empower wealth success for clients. It's just that it's really easy financially for us to do it with clients who are already wealthy. A lot of that derives from the fact that most of the fees, most of the revenue generating opportunities in the registered investment advisory space are driven by managing investments. The larger the investments, the more fees are generated. This makes sense. Therefore, a client who is already wealthy can come to an RIA and receive fantastic value. But what about that segment of the market that is not already wealthy? How can they go about actually creating and sustaining their wealth? Well, the underlying thesis behind Cairn Financial Group and why we exist the way that we exist is that we believe that we can work with clients who are not yet wealthy and help them achieve that wealth success sooner than they would have done without us. And better yet, achieve a higher degree of wealth success sooner than they would have done without us, thereby creating a great opportunity for literally everybody in the system. As a result of that, one thing that I highlight here is the demographics of our client base skew much younger than the majority of registered investment advisory practices in the industry. It's more common that RIAs take an average client base in their 60s, potentially 70s, certainly rarely younger than 50s. But we have a long trajectory ahead of us working with our clientele. Another way to look at our thesis is, yes, we're trying to achieve wealth success for our clients. All we have to do is just not get fired along the way. They're going to get there. We just got to not get fired. And you are a critical component of us not getting fired along that way. But I highlight that for a couple of different reasons. One, it's a really critical component of who we are, our building blocks of Cairn Financial Group's culture. But two, it highlights some of the work that you will be doing with and for these clients. We will have exposure to the ultra high net worth. We do have a number of clients that fit that bill, but the predominant client that we're working with are those that are building that net worth. And so we're able to spend a lot of time working with them on habit forming and dealing with what I think a lot of people would identify as more relatable decisions than some of the other RIA space out there. Now, it is worth considering why a residency program. I'm going to create an argument for why a residency program, one, from the perspective of the industry as a whole, two, from the perspective of us, the firm, Cairn Financial Group, and three, from your perspective. Number one, the industry, unfortunately, lacks structure in providing a path into the industry. Case in point, the CFP board, in order to consider yourself to hold the CFP designation, the CFP board requires a list of a number of different things that include a bachelor's degree. They're fairly flexible with what that bachelor's degree is. That's nice. It requires board registered program studies. There's an education component, a specific education component as well. And it also requires 2 to 3 years of practice in the industry. They quantify it as either 4,000 or 6,000 hours, depending on which way you get the hours. And then, of course, you're eligible to sit for the exam, and if you pass, you can carry the designation. This is an unfortunate circular argument, though, because how can one get 3 years of practice in the industry actually providing financial advice when, in my opinion, you're not really qualified to provide that advice? There are some opportunities to attain that, but unfortunately, none of them are particularly good. Certainly, not good at a systemic level. The options are you can go forward with one, the easy entry point, and pursue a commission-based program. I won't name employers by name, but a lot of these commission-based programs are very insurance-centric and insurance forward. And nothing inherently wrong with insurance. A lot of times it's a very critical way of protecting against risk. But for somebody coming into the industry and looking to facilitate wealth success for clients, selling insurance may or may not be the right way to actually attain that wealth success. And even still, whether or not you can help achieve your own life's goal, that commission-driven component oftentimes gets in the way of you actually developing your own expertise. Commission-driven programs oftentimes means what your job is in fact a marketer, a salesperson. And many people looking to get into this industry don't look to get into this industry to become a salesperson. I do believe that sales is a really important development or skill to develop for everybody, whether you're a physician or whether you're an insurance salesperson. And certainly that's something that we will discuss throughout our own training program. But at the end of the day, a commission-based program forces you to just be that role, which likely is not why you're here right now. Another option is you could be a junior advisor. I'm going to say you could get lucky and find an opportunity to become a junior advisor. That's great. If you have a mentor who's willing to take you in as their junior advisor, adopt you into their practice and say, yes, we're committing to this together. Unfortunately, that opportunity does not exist systemically. It exists every once in a while if you get lucky enough to find that opportunity. And if you do, it's likely a fantastic opportunity, pending that the mentor, the senior advisor you would be working with, is a quality advisor. So that's a limited option. So the alternative for those people who don't want to pursue the commission-based sales programs or don't have the opportunity to become a junior advisor, then becomes that they work in back office organizations or in the back office of some organizations, whether that be a larger custodian or whether that be wholesale within a mutual fund organization or so on and so forth. But unfortunately, what that oftentimes means is that the work that you're doing is not client facing. It is an office job. It is desk work, which of course I'm in an office, I'm at my desk right now. But the work that I do is 75% directly in front of a client. It's 75% directly adding value to somebody that I emotionally care for. And the amount of reward that comes from that is just, I would never replace that. Whether you fit into one of those other three buckets is certainly up to you. But from an industry perspective, I argue that we RIAs need to invest more into developing residency programs to create proper training structures to get the next generation of advisors equipped to be competent financial planners in this industry. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist with much standardization, but we are working to actually create that internally, and hopefully that can be hopefully that can be repeatable, not only within Cairn Financial Group, but hopefully for other firms as well. Let me quickly highlight and say that, of course, we are not the only firm that is offering a residency program. There are a number of others that I deeply respect in the industry that are doing it, but there's just woefully insufficient adoption of this residency program. And a number of the residency programs, I would argue, don't have quite as much structure as I would like to see. So that's what we're pursuing. Now, from the firm's perspective, simply, we need help. We need to hire people because we are approaching capacity for our workload. But at the same point, not only do we need to hire people, we have this innate desire to teach, to educate, to build and facilitate others' excellence. And this residency program is a personal affinity story. I'm the child of my father recently retired from St. Jude Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, and for the majority of his career was a residency auditor in the healthcare space. And so my discussions have, even at the dinner table, have been around residency and training and entry point into the industry. And maybe known by me or maybe unknown by me, this has just been ingrained in my brain for so many years. Fortunately, as well, a lot of our clients we started working with either during residency or shortly after residency and have been able to grow up with since then. And so the concept of a residency resonates not only with the employees of Cairn Financial Group, but of course with the clientele of Cairn Financial Group as well. Seems to be a great setup. Diving into what I mean by what we need, our workload right now is a tall order. We have taken on a number of clients over the last 5 years. We've achieved our 5-year anniversary a couple of months ago. And it's 160 clients right now means that we are needing to facilitate approximately 500 meetings each year. And across 3 different people, 10 meetings a week requires a lot of work, which of course takes and kind of cannibalizes our calendar from doing some of the supporting and analytical work that has to happen behind the scenes. From a deeper dive into these 160 clients, nearly 100 of those clients are financial planning clients. Those financial planning clients simply require a lot more work from us. We have higher standards for how often we meet those clients. And also higher standards for what we're actively providing to those clients. From an investment side, we have 4 different models that we're consistently managing. And managing a model does not mean decide on what stock shows up in the model and then just let it ride. We are actively overseeing and actively researching and actively auditing, whether it be our algorithms or individual managers or individual positions at all points. And of course, the due diligence that we undertake for our private and our alternative investments is extensive. One of the requirements for you as a resident would be, in fact, participating in that, helping read the 350-page private placement memorandum documents for some of these alternative investments as we undertake that due diligence. Now, we're actually at a bigger scale. We're taking on 2 major projects to help us sustainably address our workload and our personnel need, one of which is what we're talking about here today. That is an ongoing residency program. The second of which, though, is developing our own internal software. We're titling it Waypoints, where we are using using the preventative medicine model to help inspire a new shift, a new way of looking at and delivering financial planning to each of our clients. Offline, I would love to go into a lot of depth as to what that actually means, because in fact, it will reshape, in fact, a lot of the work that we do, and will provide a lot of opportunity for you immediately to come in and add value across all of our clients. The good news is, I alluded to that many of our healthcare clients already understand how residency works. Many of them already have gone through residency and will immediately accept you and the value that you can provide as a resident. On the right side of the page, a quick highlight as to our teaching culture. I am adjunct or have been adjunct at 4 different universities across the country. I recently came back from speaking at an academic conference in Orlando, written texts, written academic papers. This is a highlight of a couple that have come out somewhat recently. It is ingrained into our culture. We actively want to do this. Why do you want to consider a residency? Hopefully, this is pretty self-evident. We are hoping to provide a fast-tracked path for your career into financial planning. We want you to go from point 1 to 3 years from now being an equipped CFP, where we are in fact going to prepare you to sit for the CFP exam. We are overlaying our internal requirements with every aspect of the CFP board's practice standards to ensure that you have exposure to what the CFP board needs you to be excellent at. So not only will you be studying and testing over these topics, but you will in fact be practicing them as well. More to the point, we're a small team. You get to work with every single one of our team members, which means that you're going to be doing a whole lot of different types of work. This is not going to work for a large corporate organization where you will fill one small bucket and hopefully maybe at some point in your career bounce around and get exposure to different themes. You will have exposure to everything that we deal with, including exposure to what I deal with as owner of the firm in this business management discussion. And of course, Nashville, Tennessee, in and of itself, I believe adds value too, because frankly, it's a fun town. Here's the structure. It's a 3-year rotation. I'm sorry, a 3-year residency. We're providing traditional rotations. Each rotation is designed to be 6 weeks long. And there's going to be structured learning throughout the rotation through this journal club. Journal club simply means that every couple of weeks, we'll get together and you are going to present to the team about something that you've read and learned. And we're going to discuss, and we're all going to get better together through that. Our leadership is going to be highly involved in your training. I say our leadership, and I mean literally everybody on the team. There's going to be constructive feedback as a portion of, well, we'll talk about what we call KGOs here in a second. I act as program director for the residency. We have the internal 3 teammates, Nathan Green, Taylor Witt, Raquel Vasquez Dempsey, as preceptors throughout the system. And we actually have space for external preceptors as well. In other words, for you to do training outside of Cairn Financial Group, to help with research on in-depth investment management, to help with research on maintaining comprehensive tax planning if and when need be. And of course, we're going to be measuring this through the competency activities, goals, and objectives. We refer to this as KGOs, as structured from the CFP Board's practice standards. Not to beat around the bush, this is a full-time position. Frankly, it's going to be more than full-time position. This is going to be an intense 3 years. You will work hard. But we're not asking you to work hard to find new clients. There are no production requirements whatsoever for this residency. In fact, what you will be working hard on is providing value to our existing clients, and a lot of that will depend on you learning and growing along the way. There's a salary and there's a bonus. The bonus component escalates each year and is simply contingent on you completing that year of residency. For all the KGOs that we set out for each year of the residency, our requirement to go from year 1 to year 2 is much like schoolwork. We need you to get better than 65%. So in other words, another way to look at it is 3 rating systems: achieved the goal, satisfactory towards the goal, and needs improvement on the goal. If we're at needs improvement for more than 35% of our KGOs, then we're not progressing into the 2nd year or into the 3rd year. Once we achieve those, then we will move from whatever year to whatever year. And at that point, we have a bonus. The bonus goes from $5,000 at the end of year 1, $10,000 at the end of year 2, and $15,000 at the end of year 3. We will have you in client meetings literally from day 1. In year 3, our intent is to actively assign you a subset of our clients to oversee all things financial planning and investment related for those aforementioned clients. Here are our rotations. You'll see there's a variation in required rotations and elective rotations. Each of the required rotations progress year 1, year 2, and year 3. Our goal in the first year of rotations is to simply orient you to the topic at hand and all the relevant components of the topic at hand. So orienting you to what you need to know about investment planning, broader the industry and specific within the firm. Year 2 is about pursuing proficiency. We need you to be a proficient investment planner. Year 3 is about ownership. Now that you're proficient in this topic, now you need to deploy this as it applies to a subset of clients. And so at that point, you'll have some autonomy with oversight to actually take on these clients. And of course, the electives, you'll have some autonomy in choosing these as well. We do have space for independent studies. If there's something that you particularly want to explore and improve on yourself, then we can simply create that residency from the ground up and make sure that you are equipped to do so. I talked about KGOs previously. KGOs is simply the standard by which we're measuring progression and training. Here's a couple of examples. In General Principles of Financial Planning, Year 1, we're looking for you to competently create and explain relevant financial statements routinely applied in personal finance. In Risk Management and Insurance Planning 3, we need you to develop an assessment of a possible buy-sell life insurance needs to a specific client situation. And then, as you'll be taking ownership of this concept, effectively communicate it to the client. Of course, Investment Planning 3, we're looking for you to be able to proficiently analyze private placement memorandums. In other words, read the document alongside me to reflect strengths and weaknesses of a private or alternative investment. If you're still interested after listening to all this, this is what we need from you. By Friday, April 19th, take your time. We likely won't be assessing this prior to Friday, April 19th. But of course, the deadline will pass at that point. We need 4 short essay questions answered, and then a short video introduction. I will clarify, some of these questions are inspirational. And if you're a personality like me, you might start thinking big picture and how, in fact, can I change the world? I'm not looking for creative answers as much as I am looking for effective communication skills. This is a critical component of all things financial planning, is to be able to not only know the material that we're learning and that we're teaching through the residency, but also be able to turn around and communicate this information to a client in as much as it can empower that client to make a confident decision. So our questions are simple. Why do you want to work for Cairn Financial Group? And or why do you want to pursue a residency in financial planning? 2, what would you bring to Cairn Financial Group that is unique and special? 3, what do you need from us to help reach your highest potential? 4, tell me about some time you failed and that you're grateful to have done so. In other words, we grow from failure. Highlight some time where that happened. Short video introduction, brief, no time frame on this, but tell us about yourself, give us a short introduction to yourself, and tell us how you like to make the world a better place. Keep it simple, keep it complicated, keep it funny, keep it serious, whatever resonates with you. I simply want you to communicate your authentic self in all of these essay questions and short video introductions. And with that, I will turn it over to you all. Wonderful. It seems like I was thorough in my introduction today. So if there are no other questions, I'll let us all get back to our work days. And seeing a raised hand. We could type the question into the chat, or the question and answer. That may be the best way to submit the question. Well, how about this? I've allowed you to speak. Unmuted you.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh,
Thanks for raising your hand.
awesome. This is Circa Wood. I'm just, what part of Nashville are you located in?
Great question. Right now, our office is downtown. We're right across the street from TPAC on the corner of
Okay.
5th and Union.
Okay. Great. I really enjoyed hearing what you had to say about this residency program. Very excited.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're enthused as well. Appreciate your energy as well. For what it's worth, I can't promise that we will be here where we are indefinitely.
Okay.
Well, maybe a different way to say it is I would hope that we are not here indefinitely. Our lease runs for another 2 years, and at the end of that second year, I anticipate that we will have outgrown our space at that point.
Yeah. Downtown is a little difficult to get to, but
The
yeah,
good news of
hopefully.
where we are downtown, and I agree with you on that. The good news about where we are downtown and our parking is underneath the library. It's the library garage. Does in fact avoid a lot of the bad parts of the traffic downtown. And my experience being downtown is that our library lot was going through some major construction for a couple of months a few years back. And they gave us a backup parking garage that was just 2 blocks further into downtown towards the river. And that added an extra 15 minutes to my commute. But
Yeah.
where we park and where we leave downtown from is really painless in and out, relatively speaking. But yes,
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
yes, of course. Great. Well, thank you all for joining today. I welcome all of your questions from here onwards. If we have questions that we weren't comfortable bringing up here today, feel free to email me or email the team. The best way to get a hold of any or everybody overseeing this process is to email residency@cairnfg.com. But fortunately, our email system makes it very simple. At cairnfg.com and email anybody's first name, Nathan at, Taylor at, Raquel at, or team at, in fact. And if you need us, reach out that way, and we will be very excited to help from here. Otherwise, if I don't hear from you before then, I look forward to hearing, or rather seeing, an application by April 19th. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful week and coming holiday weekend. Take care.